This seems like a good time to make this video. I'm definitely on time for this. Alright, so I know this video is incredibly late, and I apologize for that. By now, most people have probably forgotten about the Sonic movie. I'd planned to release this review a few weeks ago, but a lot of stuff happened behind the scenes. First off, I felt like my original review was a bit too positive. Sort of overstated some of the elements in the film, and I didn't feel exactly like it did after my first viewing. I still think it's a good movie, but not as good as I felt before. Second, I had planned to release a Sonic Mania Let's Play alongside this review in which I would discuss my mixed thoughts on the game. I filmed for 2.5 hours, and I was really happy with my commentary, probably the best of any video I've ever recorded. Unfortunately, I forgot to remove the Pokemon White Nuzlocke layout from OBS, so now I just have 3 hours of tiny vertical video Sonic, which really bummed me out for a while. Third, once I had gotten over all that initial disappointment, I'd realized it was probably too late and I had missed the boat. You know, something about today just feels appropriate. I feel like it's the perfect time to upload a video on Sonic. I'm not sure why. I feel like maybe there's some sort of holiday today? But I might be wrong. I don't know. I just thought that today would be the perfect day to make a video about Sonic. Today seems like a really good day to celebrate Sonic. It just feels right. Alright, with the irony of my situation out of the way, let's get on with the review. The Sonic movie was a surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one. Considering all the circumstances surrounding this movie, with the nightmarish first trailer to the probably burnout-inducing redesign scramble, I was certain it was going to be a terrible and funny cash grab with no heart or charm. Thought it'd be just another live-action adaptation with no creativity or flair made solely for profit. Like Disney. But, as it turns out, it was actually pretty good. Now, it's definitely no masterpiece of cinema and character writing, not even close. The characters are pretty safe and standard, the plot is the same one you've heard a million times in these cartoon character causes hijinks with the human companion movies, and there aren't many subversions of note. Note that I said many, not any, keep that in mind. But it was a solid, enjoyable film. Ben Schwartz did a great job in his role as Sonic. He's just so charismatic, it perfectly fits this hyperactive ball of funny ha-has and chili dogs. He and the main character Tom also have pretty good chemistry, and I totally buy their friendship. In fact, everyone in this movie gives it their all, and they bounce off of each other pretty well. My personal favorite, as well as an apparent fan favorite, was Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. He's somehow hilarious, lovable, and absolutely hateable all at once. He truly feels like an unhinged egotist who doesn't care who he talks down to. Usually with goofier villains in kids media, it's hard to hate them, like Bowser or King Dedede. You don't hate them, but they're still iconic in their own way. But Egg Botnik was able to break away from this problem. Scenes where he talks down to people with a slight, actually, in his voice is incredibly punchable. Not on the same level as, like, Ego, but still pretty good. Honestly, if anything, it made me think of Professor Umbridge. Let me tell you, that is high praise. As I said before, the story was pretty stereotypical. Character arcs aren't anything special either. The usual arc of human straight man has to learn to loosen up and accept the cartoon character's advice is present too, to no one's surprise. Side characters don't do much, but they're pretty entertaining. Human Protag's wife's sister in particular is funny for the collective 5 minutes of screen time she had. However, there is one subversion that I appreciate more than I can put into words. Sonic actually changes in this movie. Yeah, I know, I'm surprised too. Usually in these haha funny talking animal movies, the main character is a huge quippy jerk to everyone and never gets called out for it. They just pinball all over the place and you have to believe that they're in the right, even though they have completely ruined the human's life. They just stay the same throughout the entire movie, never saying sorry for acting like a jerk to their human companion, and then the movie expects us to believe that they're best friends and that this emotional goodbye is earned. Sonic is thankfully different. There is a scene where he actually apologizes for being a huge spaz and a jerk to Tom. There's an issue that, throughout the middle of the film, Sonic is trying to get Tom to change his mind about. But then he accepts that Tom's choice isn't an easy one, and that he isn't happy that he has to make it. He apologizes to Tom and expresses his understanding of the complexity of the situation. This moment is so simple, but it's so satisfying to see him act like a real person. Throughout the whole movie, I was thinking to myself in the theater, he'd better get called out for acting like this. And then to see it happen for once in one of these movies is just fantastic. All of this comes together to make an emotional goodbye that actually feels earned. Honestly, I don't even know if this subversion was intentional. I doubt they watched all these terrible Human Meets Toon movies and thought, "Wowie zowie, these arcs certainly are lacking, golly gosh, gee willikers." But nonetheless, good job, Paramount. You get a gold star smiley face sticker. Moving on to my negative thoughts about the story now. This is a segue. Probably my biggest critique with the story and characters is that some of Sonic's dialogue could have been a bit more subtle. Sometimes there were scenes where Sonic could have said nothing and I would have totally gotten the picture. For those of you who've seen the movie, you'll hopefully understand what I mean when I say the baseball field scene was the worst offender. But I'll give it a pass in this department because it's clearly a kid's film and kids are dumb. However, at least some subtlety for the more enlightened beings in the audience, such as myself, would have been nice too. The jokes in the movie are a bit hit or miss. Same with the references. Some of them felt a little forced, but when they worked. Crazy Carl's drawing made me laugh so hard. Harder than I probably laughed throughout the entirety of Detective Pikachu, which is a pretty big accomplishment. I'm a huge Pokemon nerd, so I laughed a lot during Detective Pikachu. I've heard a lot of people complain that the majority of Sonic's comedy comes from "I am Sonic, go fast!" And I get why that may have hindered the experience for some people, but I personally didn't notice it, and now that I've heard the complaints, I still don't really mind it at all. The few jokes that got on my nerves were the ones that were clearly meant for kids, like the fart joke, and the random XD quippy jokes, like the "Whoa, is The Rock the president yet?" So yeah, the comedy's quality wavered a bit, though I suppose that appropriately represents the state of modern Sonic. Even with the bad comedy / reference XD random lol theme, later in the movie, Sonic wakes up after the obligatory fake-out death and makes a really forced Sonic reference that didn't work, and it sort of wasted that particular line. Like, obviously that line was going to be in the movie, but I feel like it could have worked better as an action scene one-liner or something. It just seems like they were ticking a box with it, not using it to its full potential. It's kind of hard to give specifics in the non-spoiler section, but if you've seen the movie, hopefully you know what I'm talking about. One thing I should bring up that doesn't really fit anywhere else in the script is that there were 2 separate Olive Garden shill moments. I've grown to find obvious corporate shilling hilarious. You can thank Halford for that one. So all I could do was laugh during those scenes. I do have to admit that it is objectively kinda scummy to put blatant advertising in your movie clearly aimed at young kids. They can't tell the difference between an ad and reality, so when Sonic tells them to go to Olive Garden to get the never-ending breadsticks, they fall for it so much easier than an older person. Though I have been craving breadsticks since I saw the movie, so I guess it still worked on me. On the other hand, there was also a Zillow show, which was not funny at all. The Zillow one felt like it was trying to be forced into natural conversation, even though they had an awkward pause to focus on it. One character literally says, "I found a nice apartment on Zillow," and then they stop talking and the camera cuts to show the laptop screen for 3 unfiltered seconds. Nope. Bad shill. The reason that I found the Olive Garden ones funny is because it didn't take an awkward break to force it into dialogue. It also sort of felt like maybe they were aware of the stupidity of it. I don't know. Maybe they're just the same and I'm crazy and I just am biased because I like Italian food. And with that, I must dive into spoiler territory. If you have not seen the movie, I highly recommend you do. Skip to this time to avoid spoilers. Seriously, if you have not seen this movie, stop watching. I know that you're watching this, and I know that you know that I know who you are. And I know you know I'm referring to you specifically. And I know you know that I'm still going to force you to watch it yourself. And I know you know that I'm not telling the truth. Point is, you know who you are. Okay then, let's talk some spoilies. Seeing a tribal race of echidnas attacking baby Sonic was really cool. It's nice that they would make them echidnas instead of just a generic tribe. It would have been so much easier to do so that gives me hope that they have a plan for the series. Having echidnas that want to attack Sonic sets up perfectly for a sequel. Also, it gives them the opportunity to make an and Knuckles joke. There's also been rumors that The Rock will be involved in the sequel, and I'm pretty certain that he'll be voicing Knuckles if that's true. Speaking of sequel bait, Dr. Robotnik's final scene. Seeing him finally start to look, act, and sound more like traditional Eggman was really entertaining. It makes me excited to see where it goes. There were a few moments that called back to his usual Eggy antics, but it was great to see him go all out, if only just this once. Just can't wait to see what role he plays in the sequel, if he'll be the main villain, or if he'll have like a secondary villain, like Knuckles, or Shadow, or maybe Chaos, or figure skating Bowser, I don't know. I'm just excited to see the sequel, and there will be one. I mean, he literally says, "I'll be home before Christmas," which sets up for a Christmas release for 2021 or 2022. I prefer 2022 because I want them to put a lot more thought and work into it instead of it becoming another Illumination animation. Finally, the moment that made me lose my mind. Tails. I am a huge Tails shill. Like, I don't really much care for the majority of Sonic, but Tails, I love Tails. He's cute, and that's literally the only reason. Anyway, getting back on topic. Tails going to search for Sonic provides perfect sequel bait number 3, and I'm all for it. I mean, we have the setup for a classic Sonic story. Echidnas, specifically Knuckles, trying to attack Sonic, Tails and Sonic being friends, and Eggman wanting to kill Sonic. Imagine that the Sonic movie 2 is going to be about Tails and Sonic fighting Eggman for the Chaos Emeralds, but being intercepted by Knuckles, who's working for Eggman because he's something Master Emerald TM. It's a pretty common thing in Sonic media for Eggman to trick Knuckles into fighting Sonic for his own personal benefit. Knuckles isn't usually the brightest tool in the shed, so it happens every now and then. I specifically remember that one episode from Sonic X, which was a pretty fun episode. One thing I think I should mention before this is all over is that some people seem to say that the beginning and the end are the best parts of the movie. I seem to be of the opinion that it was sad that we had to get through the entire movie just to see Sonic stuff. Alright, now I can see where these people are coming from. Anyway, I'm super excited for the sequel, way more than I would be for Detective Pikachu's sequel, because Detective Pikachu left off pretty conclusively. We lost the main appeal to Detective Pikachu by the end of the film, talking Pokemon. After Tim's dad and Pikachu get separated, not only does it wrap up pretty nicely, it doesn't leave much room for more story. Sonic, however, has these perfect opportunities to explore, and I'm all for it. While Detective Pikachu is the better film, I think Sonic deserves a sequel more. And now, for my miscellaneous thoughts. Why wasn't Ben Schwartz listed on the poster of the movie? He plays the main character. The movie starts with I bet you're wondering how I got here, which is always ironically hilarious to me. Sonic is a Visco girl, saving those turtles. Why did they redo the, meow? The delivery isn't as good as the first trailer, even if the visuals in the trailer were infinitely worse. Speaking of which, the design looks really good, but some of the defined quills make Sonic look kinda greasy and plasticky. Eggman literally crippled a boy. What the frick, that's actually really dark. He made him eat out of a tube for a month. The obligatory Quicksilver scene. Sonic sleeps with socks on. Sonic feet. That is a cardinal rule of Sonic. We do not think about what is inside of his shoes. That is gross. You broke the one rule. Sonic flossed twice, kill me. The first fake out death of the bomb was kind of annoying because Sonic was injured solely because of showmanship and it was never really addressed. The sexual tension between Dr. Stone and Eggman is too palpable. They have a reference to badness, which is really cute, and I appreciate the little attention to detail, even if it wasn't really necessary, but thanks for putting it there. Why did that kid have shoes like that just lying around? They are way too big for her, and definitely not her style. Why did they show Sonic's feet? The world hopping fight was pretty neat. I like how Sonic attacks Eggman's ship only by jumping in a ball. Nice reference. Eggman references Girl in the Gone. Jazz rendition of Green Hill Zone was pretty nice. Having Tails' original voice actor was really nice. No one quite does the role like they did. Sonic feet! And that's about it for spoilers. Overall, I'd give the Sonic the Hedgehog movie a 6 out of 10. Take your kids, take your wife. Solid family fun for anyone to enjoy. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go throw myself off a flying battery because Google Docs decided to autocorrect take your wife to take your life.